Hi, these comments are for MS. This is Michael from bettertoeflscores.com. I'm listening to a independent speaking practice test that you emailed me a couple of days ago. So this one is people should spend more time indoors. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? And let's listen to your response. So here's what I want to do. I want to listen to the whole thing one time without saying anything. Then after I listen to it, I'll give you my first impressions and we'll kind of go from there. Okay, here we go.
I agree that people should spend more time outdoors because spending time with nature is relaxing as well as inspiring. At first, I was on the fence about going to the park for my daily jogging versus going to the gym as usual. But then I woke up one day and said, why don't I just go today and just test the waters for only 30 minutes and see how it goes? I got ready, I went to the park, and I had amazing time. I really felt relaxed, have a clear mind and rejuvenated after that 30-minute walk. And since that day, I said I'm never gonna stop doing my daily jogging in the park. It became my favorite place to visit.
Okay. You use the word test the waters. The phrase there, that is very natural. Many non native speakers would not know how to use that. It's kind of like to try something to see how it works out, kind of a thing. So that was a really good phrase that you used there. My first impression, it sounds you had a pretty good delivery. You had fairly good control of your intonation. Your speaking rate is not too slow. There were a few words in there. One that comes to mind, the word visual, that visual. So there's a few consonant sounds in there. There's a few minor problems with pronunciation. I think language use, I'm going to listen to it one more time just to be sure on this, but I think you had fairly good control over your grammar and your vocabulary. Topic development was also strong. I'm going to put you right now tentatively at 24 to 26 points on this. Probably not higher than 26. I don't think you'd score lower than 24, right? So I'm kind of looking at the rubrics right now. Okay, so let's listen to it one more time. So let's start with the beginning.
I agree that people should spend more time outdoors because spending time with nature is relaxing as well as inspiring.
Good. So I like the beginning there. Let's listen one more time.
I agree that people should spend more time outdoors because spending time with nature is relaxing as well as inspiring.
So the only problem I have is the words relaxing and inspiring. So if you say spending time outdoors reduces depression symptoms or something, or spending time outdoors is healthier for our hearts or something. But relaxing and inspiring are not as precise words as you could use because you want to take those keywords and then frame your speaking around that. So let me show you something. How to make, we'll say relaxing. Let's see if I can get some ideas on this. So what would be, so this is good. I went into chat to get some ideas on this. So it says instead of saying relaxing, explain what makes it relaxing, or instead of saying inspiring, explain what part inspires you. So with relaxing, you could say spending time outdoors reduces stress, or spending time outdoors motivates me to exercise more, or something. So I think you want to be, when you're using these words in the very beginning of your response, you want to make sure they're very, very specific, even concrete if possible, because then it makes it much easier to organize your response. All right, let's keep going here.
At first, I was on the fence about going to the park for my daily jogging.
At first, I wasn't what now? Let's go back.
At first, I was on the fence about going to the park for my daily jogging versus going to the gym as usual. But then I
As usual.
woke up one day and said, why don't I just go today and just test the waters for only 30 minutes and see how it goes?
This is good. I like that. Test the waters. Now, the problem is the introduction, the purpose of the intro is to frame the response, to frame the body of your response, right? But you're not really, when you say relaxing and inspiring, if you said it reduces my stress or it motivates me to exercise more, you have those two key points in the beginning. It's easier to restate and build examples connected to those 2 points.
I got ready, I went to the park, and I had amazing time. I really felt relaxed, have a clear mind and rejuvenated after that 30-minute walk. And since that day, I said I'm never gonna stop doing my daily jogging in the park. It became my favorite place to visit.
Okay, so I think maybe I'm going to say 24 to 25 now. So I think you probably make it a bit more organized. That would be one thing that I think you can work on. So let's look at some examples here. Let's see. Okay, let's look at an example here for a minute. So I'm going to get some help from chat right here to show you something. So how about cohesive response uses 2 concrete reasons about why spend more time. Let's take a look at this for a minute. Let's see if we can find something here. We can kind of compare what we have here to what you did. People should spend more time outdoors because sunlight improves mood and nature reduces daily stress. Let's say 150 words. That doesn't always know what to do. Okay, let's take a look at how it works here. So what we want to do is kind of analyze the intro and then compare that with the example. So right in the beginning, we have the introduction. Yours was a little bit too vague. So people should spend more time outdoors because it provides 2 important benefits. It naturally improves mood and it significantly reduces stress. So we have these 2 ideas. First, exposure to sunlight increases the body's production of serotonin, a chemical that helps people feel happier and more energetic. Now, that's very specific. Even a short walk in a sunny park can lift someone's mood far more effectively than staying indoors. This is where you can, I think, improve a little bit more, is you need to be a little more concrete in the reasons. Second, spending time in natural environments such as forests, beaches, or even quiet neighborhood trails helps lower stress levels. Research shows that being around trees, fresh air, and open spaces slows the heart rate and reduces muscle tension. For many people, simply hearing birds or feeling a light breeze can calm anxiety and reset their focus. Because sunlight boosts emotional well being and nature creates a sense of peace, being outdoors offers a simple, powerful way to improve both mental and physical health. So then I'm going to do one more quick lesson to explain the difference between what I'm going to call abstract Okay, let's take a look at this for a minute. So I want to talk a little bit now about what we call the difference between abstract and concrete detail. So abstract details are general ideas that don't create a clear picture. They express concepts, feelings, or opinions without giving specific examples. For example, nature is good for people. The class was interesting. I learned a lot. These statements are true, but they're too vague. So concrete details are specific observable facts or examples that the listener can visualize. They answer what exactly and make your point clearer and more believable. Example, hiking in the mountains helped me relax because the cool air and quiet trails felt calming. In my biology class, we dissected a plant stem to understand its structure. So concrete names, numbers, actions, places, brief examples, observable results. I think this is also important with the new TOEFL when you get into those interviews. Very, very important. So why concrete details work better in TOEFL speaking? One, they improve clarity. Readers understand your point instantly without guessing. Two, they demonstrate development. Scoring, TOEFL scoring rewards responses that explain how and why, not just what you think. Three, they sound more natural and convincing. Native speakers use examples to support ideas. Abstract statements feel memorized. Four, they fill time efficiently. Concrete examples naturally expand your answer to 25 or 30 seconds. So just think about that. I think that's something that you can work on is as you remember that the beginning of the response, the introduction, you want to use some very precise wording in the beginning, and you're more likely, if you do that, to use more concrete details later in the body of the response. I'm going to grade your second speaking practice test also in this video. So you're using my TOEFL speaking and writing feedback service over at Better TOEFL Scores. Generally, you do one practice test per day. That's what you've been doing. I'm going to go ahead and grade both of these right now. Okay, so let's listen to the one here. So the question is, do you think that cell phones should be banned in classrooms? And your argument is yes, cell phones should be banned in classrooms. That's what you're trying to argue here. Okay, here we go.
I agree that cell phones should be banned during classroom because they distract students from their classes, as well as their use is considered disrespectful to the teachers. First of all, smartphone usage during formal education is not beneficial to the student. I remember last year I received a phone call from my son's science teacher complaining about an in-class assignment that wasn't turned in time. When she looked into the problem, it all boiled down to him being focused on another activity, which was sending a text message to a friend.
It all boiled down to, where are you getting these words from? That's a good one too. You said test of the waters in the previous one. That's very idiomatic. You said it all boiled down to, that's another idiomatic type expression. Now that does show that you have a very good command, I think, over the spoken language. These are things that you use in less formal speaking situations. And this is okay. It works very well in this situation.
Second of all, smartphone usage during formal education is impolite. The teachers have given everything up to come and educate the children, and the least that they deserve is being respected.
The least they deserve is being respected. No, the most, at the very least, the least they deserve is being okay. I got it. So they want to be respected. Okay, I'm thinking on this
I agree
one,
that cell phones should be banned during
you're probably about the same. I think on the other one, I was thinking 24 to 26. I listened to it again. I revised it maybe down to 25, maybe 24 to 25. I'm going to say this one is maybe 23 to 25 points. Okay, so let's listen one more time. So I think that your speech is generally clear. Language use, you had a few problems in there. You might be missing a word, might not be using exactly the right word. So you had some minor problems with that. Maybe with topic development, you can maybe cohesively connect things together a little bit better, maybe by transition words, repeating or rephrasing key ideas, some things like that. So I'm thinking you're probably 23 to 25 points on this practice test. Okay, let's listen to it together here. One more time here. Let's get the beginning part.
I agree that cell phones should be banned during classroom because they distract students from their classes as well as their use is considered disrespectful to the teachers.
Good. So they're distracting and disrespectful. So those are a little bit more precise than what you said in the previous one. I think something about inspiring and relaxing. I like this. You can easily give examples of how using cell phones can distract not just the student, but other students in the class. Maybe present an example of when you're in a class, when a cell phone went off, it made a noise or something, and how it distracted you from the lecture. So that's very easy, and then it can be disrespectful. So let's see how you illustrate these ideas.
First of all, smartphone usage during formal education is not beneficial to the student. I remember
Well, it's not just beneficial, but it's distracting, right? It's okay to repeat that idea that you've already said. That's how you're going to tie the first example back to the introduction.
last year I received a phone call from my
So you said last year. Let me go back to what you just said there.
I remember last year.
Right before that.
First of all, smartphone usage during formal education is not beneficial to the student. I remember last year.
You say, I remember. How about say to illustrate there? So you want to improve the cohesion of your response, right? So by using to illustrate or for illustration, or for instance, or for example, or case in point, those are all different words you can use to introduce a detail. That's going to help tie that example back to the previous sentence. So there's a little bit better cohesion.
I received a phone call from my son's science teacher complaining about an in-class assignment that wasn't turned in time. When she looked into the problem,
Wait
it
a
all
minute.
boiled
Wait a
down to
minute. It wasn't turned.
assignment that wasn't turned in time. When she
It wasn't turned in time, believe it or not, or it wasn't submitted on time. It wasn't turned in on time, you want to say, or it wasn't submitted on time. So that's a language use issue. So using the phrasal verb, so to turn in means to submit. Believe it or not, you need to use another preposition after that to illustrate that idea.
looked into the problem, it all boiled down to him being focused on another activity, which was sending a text message to a friend. Second of all, smartphone.
Good. And focus. You could even use distracting there if you want, because that ties back to what you said in the beginning. But you can say he was focused on the text message and not paying attention to what was happening in the classroom, thereby missing the deadline for submitting his assignment.
Usage during formal education is impolite.
So the problem is you don't have enough time to really to support the second reason with a good example. So that's kind of a time management issue. So if you get near the end of a response like this, and you got to practice this, this is what you're doing right now. It's okay if you just want to use one reason. So you think cell phones should be banned because they're distracting in the class, they distract students in classes, right? So, I mean, I understand that. And maybe that's the only thing you want to say during the 45 seconds and include an extended example to
The
illustrate it.
teachers have given everything up to come and educate the children, and the least that they deserve is being respected.
Good. So you didn't really illustrate that one. So that's going to create some issues. I would just throw that, maybe just start with one reason instead of two, and just keep developing the first point like you are. You would have been better shape. And so if you want to do two reasons, you're going to have to equally explain both with some specific examples in there. That's going to be important. So overall, I'm thinking 23 to 25 on this one. Now, let me see if I can give you some tips on this. Give me a quick second. Give my student, let me see if I can find some, give my student some time management. Let me see if I can come with some good ideas here. Let's see what we got here. I'll if anything points out, I'll hit on it. So it says time management strategies. Use a simple three-part structure every time. So this prevents wasting seconds. So you have your main idea, one sentence, reason one plus detail, 2 to 3 sentences, reason two plus detail, 2 to 3 sentences. Finish with a short conclusion, and there you go. So that's going to get you to about maybe 45 seconds or so. And just take time to explain each reason with supporting detail. I don't think write short notes, not full sentences. You don't have enough prep time to do any of that. Let's look at 3 here. Thought groups while speaking. This is good. Break sentences into natural chunks. So one reason I prefer online classes is that I can study anytime. So this is going to help keep the pace steady and reduces rushed speech. It says limit each idea to 8 to 10 seconds. So how about 0 to 5 seconds for main idea, 5 to 15 seconds for reason 1 plus example, 15 to 25 seconds reason 2 plus example, and so on. It says use concrete details to fill time naturally. Instead of adding more abstract ideas, add one quick example. For instance, last semester I saved 2 hours a day by studying online. So the examples automatically lengthen the response without rambling. Avoid long pauses by using fillers correctly. So you can use natural fillers, not memorized templates. Things like let me explain why, or for example, another reason is. This helps keep your response flowing without sounding robotic. Practice speaking at the correct pace. I like this idea. So practice speaking for maybe 130 to 150 words per minute, which it feels calm but steady. It says, have a default structure rated for any topic. So this prevents panic when the topic is unexpected. So yeah, you could use a template, but be careful. Make sure it's not a really common one everybody else is using. So you can see that example there. So those are some strategies there. I want to do one more thing here about cohesion. Give my student some tips and tricks for improving the cohesion in her speaking responses. Put keep it brief. That has a way of doing a little too much here. All right, let's see what we got here. I think this is something else I wanted to bring up with you too, and then you can take some of these ideas. Remember that Cohesion MS, these are kind of tools like you use a screwdriver, a hammer, a saw, or whatever, and the tools are helping you to show the connection of your sentences and your entire response. So I think number one, use clear transition words. I brought that up already with you. Number two, repeat keywords. You can see some of the examples there, right? How about use pronouns to connect ideas? Be careful, don't overdo this because it can also show limited range of vocabulary. I'll give one example per idea. This is going to naturally link your reason to the main idea. Keep sentences short. Shorter sentences reduce errors and keep the response clear and connected. But be careful about this one. I'm not going to say I like this 100%. You can use some short sentences, but you also should use some longer ones too, because you want to show syntactic variety. How about thought groups? We talked about that a minute ago. All right, so what can we say here? I think overall, there's some things that you really want to keep working on here. You're pretty close. I know you're taking the TOEFL mid-January, so I'm giving you some things that you can work on here over the next few weeks to help improve your overall speaking fluency, to improve the structure, I think, of your responses and help you be more specific and concrete in the examples that you're providing. I think if you can implement these things into the practice that you're sending me tomorrow and the next day, I think you're getting closer to that 26 threshold.